I discussed the idea of the concept of mastery a fair bit, and I know you're probably thinking, well, actually, Andrew, you do quite a lot. It's a bit of a broken record, to be fair. However, I am obsessed with the idea that you can be obsessed with the idea of something. If I could go back to myself in my 20s and give myself one piece of advice, it would be this. You are going to have to be so much better than you can even contemplate, comprehend. And if I knew that, then I would just push what I thought was my capacity. I would have worked harder, I would have studied harder, I would have been more disciplined, I would have drunk less. And it's not to say there's anything wrong with my life now. It is just, I just look back and go, if I had have had that information, what would I have achieved? It's not that I regret. It's just, I can now pass that information on to others. It's that obsession with a craft that enables me to play at the vanguard. I must do that when I say vanguard. That enables me to play at the vanguard of what it is that I do. I'm able to forge my own path within a craft. I am disciplined, I am focused, I'm obsessed, and I love what is possible by applying and being disciplined. I understand, finally, although I did discover this a little while ago, I understand what my experiences are that I'd like to create, or some might call those goals, and how that there cannot be conflict between the goals and the experiences that I want to have. There can't be conflict with my behaviors, my focus, my discipline, etc. Those have to be aligned. Whiskers of wisdom, you're right, Danny. These are very wise whiskers today. So when we choose to be great at something, to choose mastery, we then have to align our behaviors to fit that goal. And this is the fundamental downfall, the fundamental flaw of most people with big dreams, and an absolute lack of understanding of how that is ever going to be achieved. So it is incredibly common for me to hear someone's goals of, I want to be speaking in front of thousands of people, I want to be shifting hearts and minds, it's very noble, I'm here to serve, I want to serve thousands, not just a couple of dozen at the local bloody RSA or the bingo or Yahtzee night. And there's this idea of a grandiose idea, which I love. I love these goals or experiences that you want to create and the kind of lifestyle that you want to have and the impact that you want to have. But it's simply not possible with applying these same behaviors that you've been applying so far and getting to the place that you sit right now in life. It is dead set impossible. So those behaviors and disciplines and focuses and the focus on the craft and the tools has to change, fundamentally change, or you don't and cannot achieve what it is that you want. It's a bit of a short, sharp kick in the butt for some people, obviously, because I see this frequently, of course, I know that most coaches and mentors do, but I see this with people that I work with, is there's an idea of what they want to achieve, and then there's the reality of what they're willing to put in, and they don't align. It simply doesn't align. And I get that because, well, I come from that place in my 20s. What I wanted, what I aspired to, just didn't. My behaviors, my disciplines, my focus, the amount of work that I was willing to put in just didn't fundamentally meet what was required to get me to that place. But I understand now. So Your dedication eventually, or your dedication essentially, the amount of time that you're willing to put into things and to discover things, take them apart, put them back together, for you to fail and get back up, for you to go through the dark patches knowing that on the other side at some stage there will be light again. What you discover through this becomes your leverage. And of course, without going through that, you don't create leverage. So I was talking about this with my intimate group, stand out on video like an expert in 6 weeks, and I get to push them pretty hard. They are all very highly successful people. They are playing hard and they expect me to push them hard, and I love that they expect me to push them hard. The more I'm doing this, and especially I think since COVID and since this freaking pandemic, because we haven't been able to travel and do the big things, it is refining the smaller things. And what I am discovering now is that there has to be a level of which you need to play to get improvement. Underneath that level, underneath that amount of practice, that focus, that discipline, there is little to no improvement. And underneath that, there is, of course, a conflict of goals versus behaviors. Above that level of discipline and focus and practice, you then get the improvement. You get to the place of good, you get to the place of great, and of course, in years, you get to the place where you start to play in mastery. And of course, when you play in mastery, you're playing in a place that has so much freedom that only those who play in the place of mastery will ever be able to understand. You have such a depth of skill and experience that you're able to take the opportunities that are given to you and play full out and use the experiences to enjoy yourself. It is one of the most fulfilling experiences that I have when I can go on stage. I even just love doing videos. But when the craft is so deep inside you that you have made your own imprint within it, you've left your footprint within a craft, and you're able to play and explore. The better you are at something, the more you're able to play. I mean, for example, how much better was riding a bike when you were able to do bunny hops, wheelies, and convince one of your siblings to lie down in front of a little ramp so you could jump over them? How much exactly? So the better we become, the more fun that we can have, and of course the better we become, the more that we can take luck out of the game. And isn't this what it's about? Being able to take luck out of the game. The better we become, the more leverage we can create. The more leverage that we can create, the better people that we attract. The better you become, the more leverage you create. And the more leverage you create, of course, people pay for leverage. People don't pay for mediocre. Well, they do, but they probably regret it. But people pay for certainty. They pay for a bone-deep sense of certainty in the person that is mentoring them or coaching them or guiding them through something. I feel that you can discover your soul's purpose as you pursue mastery. The more I discover myself within this craft, the more I discover the sense of my own soul's purpose. It takes me to a place that I wouldn't have been able to go for or discover if I hadn't put in the energy and the effort. Mastery requires us to be forever students. It is only, I think, the point where you have the epiphany, the realization that you will forever be the student because you actually know nothing. And the reason is why you have that epiphany that you actually know nothing, is you realize that mastery is infinite. That you finding your foothold and leaving your footprint within that craft, actually, it's infinite. It never ever ends. You discover so much about yourself, but you realize that your capacity is not where you think it is. You have this level of capacity that is beyond you, even anything that you can comprehend. So if I have a rule of thumb, and I have this rule of thumb with the people that I work with, is I just have this 5-minute rule. And with a 5-minute rule, it's pretty much what it says it is. 5 minutes practice a day. If you can reach that minimum of 5 minutes practice a day, repetition practice, you will improve. It is without a doubt you will improve. Above the 5 minutes, when you apply 5 minutes often turn into 15 to 30 to 60 minutes or more. And you go into the place of, actually, I'm getting quite good at this. Over time, that becomes, you become great at it. Beyond great, and we're talking years, if not decades, you get to a point where there's a sense of mastery, a sense of self-mastery within the craft of what it is that you've been doing. Underneath the 5-minute rule, underneath that 5-minute bar, you get little to no improvement. Underneath little to no improvement is the disparity between your dreams and the experiences you want to create and what you're willing to put in, your behaviors, your discipline and focus. Remember that if you have these grand ideas and dreams, your current behaviors will be in confliction to you actually achieving that. Otherwise, you would already have it.